sent you a million pages,
Mm.
an absolute million pages. I'm sure you've all read and studied them intently.
No,
But as you have time over the next few days, whatever, go through them. We'll talk about as much as we can this afternoon until you're tired of listening, and give you pertinent details. I think one of my urgency things, Barb's going in for a knee replacement the week after Thanksgiving, Tuesday. So wanted to get this completed and let you know, a lot of people run out and buy a whole bunch of stuff before we go on these things. And you really don't need to. So we wanted to help you if you're crafting a holiday gift list for yourselves or for somebody else, that we'll try to help you out and guide you and maybe explain some of the whys on, especially this luggage thing. That's always the highest stressor, always the highest stressor on what to take and how much. And that suitcase doesn't seem very big, and you're used to going on trips with whatever luggage you want to take, and we're a little more restricted this time. Lynette, you, Stacy, have anything to kick us off?
I think just maybe going through the information about what to bring, and then maybe going a little bit over the travel documentation and the health information from our end.
Yeah.
And then I know that we've got everybody's tickets all issued, so we're all set there. We'll be updating everybody's invoices and sending out the updated totals with that additional night added on to it as well.
Okay, and I know there's a few that are gonna stay over and stop in Amsterdam for a few nights on the way back. I think Linda, you and Scott are gonna stay one night. I'm not sure what Haley and Campbell are gonna do. And I think Stories, you're coming straight back.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
And going straight to as well.
Straight to.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Good. 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 Well, why don't we just start with the suitcase?
yeah.
Let's get the worst of it out of the way. I actually brought a visual,
Oh, good.
and this is Linda had emailed me earlier today about making sure we talked about the luggage. I found the perfect suitcase last year. I think Downham's may have the same bag, and two of our travelers from California have the same thing. We got them at REI. If you can read that, it's the REI Big Haul
60.
Big Haul 60. It means it has 60-liter capacity. Now, I'm going to try to unfold this a bit and show it to you, but it, by any stretch of the imagination, is not big. No matter how big you want to be. It is a duffel bag. And I'll show you about the size. You're going to freak. That's about it. It's about 25, 26 inches long, up and down, fully filled. I think it's about 11 one way and 13 the other way. And it does have shoulder straps, so you can wear it as a backpack. And our friends from California that brought that bag, Kent had really bad knees, and he really couldn't carry it. So he bought one of those little portable luggage things on wheels that he could strap it on, like a two-wheeler for a little suitcase.
He said they got that at Target for $19.99, in case anybody interested in that.
Yeah, the reason for that is twofold. That we are on a small plane. We don't know what size yet, coming back out of the Serengeti, flying back to Arusha on our last day. And the size of plane hasn't been determined yet. We may not know for a bit, but they can be very small, maybe 4, 6 passenger, and getting those bags in there is there just is no place to put them. And so the size of the bag. Also in the Land Rovers we'll be in, the guides that we'll be with, we're with the entire trip. And they've got a Land Rover, and as we're going from Arusha out to Tarangire, then we just stay in that vehicle. In some of the Southern Africa trips, we fly from camp to camp, but you still have the small plane. But we're taking everything with us, and there just isn't this big trunk. They can't put them up on top because that's the hatch they open up whenever there's an animal to view. So they got to be able to open the lid of it. So the small bag is just crucial. And we have traveled in the past where people took big wheeled luggage. It just infringed on everybody's space to fit in the vehicle. So it may seem like, oh my God, how am I going to do it? But if you look at the clothing list, and we will confirm where we can get laundry done, and that really, it makes it much more enjoyable not to have all that junk with you, because you go somewhere for one night or 2 nights, and your tendency is to unpack everything. Well, then you got to repack, and it just becomes, that's all you end up doing. So getting down to the nitty gritty, and the number, I think Barb sent the number of shirts, pants, the things you might need. It could get up into the 80s in the daytime, and it could get down into the 40s at night. And so it's just critical to have enough layers of clothing. I don't think on this trip you need a big, heavy quilted jacket, but having enough layers, because we'll get up in the morning, leave really early, and it's as chilly as it's going to be for the day. And you get out there, and you're out in the bush for an hour, hour and a half, and that sun comes up, and it warms up quickly. I think on one of our trips, even this last trip to Botswana, we had people that left in the morning that had 7, 8, or 9 layers. Now they were a little overreactive to how cold it was, but that's the key. And I think multiple layers that you can take off as the day progresses, and then in the evening put them back on. And we did put on that list, everybody laughs, but a pair of little gloves,
Yeah,
very handy, and a lightweight little ear warmer comes in very handy. And the other thing to make sure you take is something that we will be on very, very dusty roads, and having a bandana or Barb found the word buff is what it's called, that you can put around your neck and pull up. And then also that bandana or whatever you have can be laid over if you have camera equipment or anything that might be sensitive to dust, because it's very dusty. It's very fine dust. But once we get, we'll be on blacktop out to Arusha. We won't be on blacktop in the park, Tarangire itself. And then we'll be on a pretty nice highway leading from Arusha up towards the crater. But when we get to, I think, the entrance to the Ngorongoro Conservation Area, it turns into a gravel road. And from there on, we're going to be on gravel roads. So that's a little bit, layers.
Now, Randy talked about quilted jacket. I did put that on the list because I'm a person that doesn't like to be cold. And even sitting around the campfire, I would wear a really lightweight quilted vest or a quilted jacket. And, it just depends on what you like. Carolyn, what did you have last time?
I had like one of those Patagonia better sweater jackets.
Yeah.
So it was perfect.
Yeah. It doesn't need to be a whole lot, but just enough to break that cold.
The quilted jacket that Barb's referring to is a LL Bean, and it's one of those that's I think called a pouch jacket.
Pack away.
You can pack it into the pocket, so it's not a real heavy. And shoes, comfortable shoes. You don't need hiking boots at all. Running shoes are fine, and a lot of times when we go, you'll want to probably have 2 pairs of shoes. One will get real dusty when you're out. You maybe want to have a pair of dry shoes or undusty shoes when you get back into the camp. But if you got an old pair of running shoes or walking shoes, when you're done with the trip, you want to take souvenirs home, just leave them. They honestly in Arusha will probably drive by stores where they've got piles of used shoes, and that's their. A lot of these people just don't have anything. So T-shirts, socks, shoes that you just say, hey, I'm gonna lessen the load as we go. They do appreciate it, and it doesn't matter. A lot of we've seen when you get into the third world like that, a lot of times you'll see T-shirts that will have logos on them and things on them that they printed by mistake, or they printed to make sure they had shirts for both Super Bowl teams. You'll find the losers' shirts have been donated to another country, and they get really great use out of them. So leaving clothes is totally acceptable. And then women I think Barb put this on the list, but she put woolite. And if you've got a little something you use for a clothesline, if you want to wash something out.
It's not on the list they got. All they got was the clothes list.
Oh, okay. That woolite is always good to have. A couple packets if you want to wash something out. We're going to find out for sure which camps. Most of the camps that we're at 2 nights will do laundry. And you give it to them in the daytime, morning, and it's usually done by the time you get back that evening. But sometimes if it's damp, if it happens to rain, the clothes might not dry. They have solar dryers. So if it's raining, it doesn't dry.
So in talking about the clothes, just for a minute, the shirts you wear should be lightweight, as lightweight as you can get. You shouldn't wear or bring any real bright colored clothing, because that does kind of attract animals. And then the navy blue and black will attract tsetse flies. Now I say that, but it seems like every trip we've gone on, I've had a black t-shirt under my shirt. So, and I haven't had a problem. Randy, on the other hand, has a problem with tsetse flies. Yeah. And then the other thing about those lightweight shirts, sometimes if you go to REI or you go to Bass Pro, they call them fishing shirts. They're that real lightweight stuff. And you can practically rinse that out in the shower and have it be dry in an hour. It's just crazy how those things dry. I also put on this list a swimming suit, because there are a couple places that you can swim. Generally, I don't take a swimming suit, but now Randy has gone swimming before, so I did put that on there. And then I don't know, just things that you can layer. We had a woman though that wore silk long underwear out on safari, and then the minute the sun comes up, it gets really warm, and she had on 6 layers, and the silk long underwear were the last thing, and she got down to it and she was just broiling because she couldn't take her clothes off to get the silk long underwear off. So you just have to be kind of sensible about how you layer things. They'll also, if it's a really cold morning, we leave earlier to get to the national parks, because when the sun comes up, that's when the animals are out. So we will leave so that we can be there in time for that. And if it's really cold, they'll give us wool blankets so you can snuggle up with a wool blanket. And, it's not as cold as it seems in the vehicle because the vehicle's moving. But other than that, the gloves are really important. One of the years we were there, we went into the gift shop and they had 1 pair of gloves. And of course I got them, and they looked like Bozo the Clown gloves. They were so big, but I didn't care. It was crazy. But anyway, that's the story. And if you look at this list of clothing that you got, it will fit in that luggage super easy. I mean, you're going to be surprised at how much stuff you can get in those little suitcases. Okay, I'm done.
You done? Okay. The other thing that Barb and I found that was just to us kind of a godsend. We went to Italy a couple weeks ago, and we had read that they have there are manufacturers now of the gallon TSA liquid bag
Quart.
and a quart bag. Well, there are companies manufacturing them now that are that size and dimension, but they have a zipper on top, and you can get about twice as much stuff in them. And the luggage stores are now selling these. We took them to Italy and I could not believe, and they are TSA approved. They're about 2 inches deep, and you still have to use the 3-ounce, 100 milliliter rule. But these things,
I got those on the internet.
Yeah, I think we got them
on
for
Amazon.
16 or 17 bucks for 3 of them. But you can get your stuff in them.
What are they called?
It's just a TSA. Barb, do you remember what the?
It was just a TSA approved quart bag.
Okay.
Yeah, just Google that. I think, did you find them on Amazon?
I think I did. Yes, I know
Yeah.
I did actually. And there's like going to be a million of them, David. I mean, there's a lot of different companies that are making them.
Yeah.
And I tried not to go with a real expensive one.
And what are you using them for? Your liquids?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to put all your liquids in 3-ounce liquids inside a plastic bag.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you don't want to check your liquids, because if your luggage gets lost, then you got nothing. The first trip we took, we split our luggage. We did everything that we thought was just perfect. My luggage never came. So I lived that whole trip on half of my luggage or half of my clothes. And so did Randy. And, we did that just fine. But I don't know that I could have survived without shampoo, without, that kind of little stuff. So and if you put 3-ounce bottles in those little TSA things that Randy just showed you, you can stand them up or you can lay them down, and you can get so much more in there than you can in a Ziploc. So it was well worth my.
Yeah, they
$15.
at least have 1.5 time capacity, if not 2 times. And Barb talked about the splitting luggage, and unless you're hand carrying on, when you get all your clothes ready, and we highly recommend too, I think we put that on the tip, is to get Ziploc bags, the quart or gallon or 2 gallon, and roll your clothes up to pack them because of the dust again. That packing them in Ziploc, then they're nice and fresh. They don't smell like road dust. But split, Julianne, if you've got 3 or 4 shirts, put 2 in one suitcase and 2 in Lee's suitcase. Everything, just split it right down the middle. Then if one bag doesn't show up,
And see when my luggage got lost, I didn't think it could possibly happen to me. So I wasn't real careful about what I put in Randy's bag and what I put in my bag. So I had things that I ended up with that didn't go together. And the other half was in the other suitcase.
Yeah.
So now, one of the women on our trip to Botswana did the Ziploc thing, and she took her Ziploc and she put her clean underwear, her shirt, her pants, everything in one Ziploc. So in the morning, she was just pulling out a Ziploc and getting dressed. And the rest of us were digging through our luggage looking for everything. So that was kind of smart too. I don't think I'm quite that organized, but I'm going to throw it out there.
And locks on your suitcase. Last trip to Tanzania, they split clothes, did everything. Two very seasoned travelers, and one of the ladies, her suitcase got missing, but when they found it and got it to us a couple days late, but she didn't put locks on the suitcase, and somebody had gotten in there and stolen some of her clothing and her shoes.
Yeah, her pants.
Her pants, yeah, and a pair of shoes.
Hmm.
It's surprising they didn't take everything. So yeah,
Yeah.
put locks on.
On
For
those
sure.
duffel bags,
I'm sorry?
on the duffel bag?
Yeah, yeah.
On
yeah.
anything, yeah. And
Okay.
you know, those people are so friggin' poor over there. And it's gonna make you feel bad that you have as much as you have. You know, you just because you end up wanting to give them your clothes or wanting to give them things because they have so little. We golfed one year in between two trips, and at the end of golfing, Randy took his socks off and handed them to the kid. And he was all excited and he took the socks. Well, I'm sitting there and I pull my socks off and they're all wet and sweaty. And so I thought, I can't offer this girl these socks. And I just looked at her and she kept looking at me and looking at the socks. And I said, do you want these? And she said, oh, yes, Mom, if I could have them. Yes, Mom. I'm like, oh my God. Then I wish I had more. But, you know, so we gave them our balls and our socks and anything that you could buy easily. So you just have to think like that. They're going to take it.
Yeah. And use it.
Hey, Randy,
Yeah.
along those lines, are we gonna do some kind of a charity thing like we did before?
I would probably will. I haven't really explored that yet. Usually on these trips, we take to give to the first camp school supplies, and they need everything. But we'll reach out to Tara and Gary and see what we can take. Well, one of our first trips there, we actually went to a research area that because I knew the guy that was doing elephant research, and he's not there any longer. But I emailed him, asked him what they needed, and he said, "Yeah, bring clothes for the kids if you can, or school supplies." And then he said, "Bring us a couple of soccer balls if you can, and pumps to pump them up." And I said, "Do you need anything?" He said, "Yeah, as many gummy bears as you can bring." They don't have gummy bears in Gary Park. So we will try to put something together, Carolyn. But we usually try to take tablets, pencils, pens, flashcards. We will learn about their education
Maps.
system.
Yeah,
Yeah,
maps are good too.
Being with the guides the entire trip, you really will get to know them and know about their culture and how they got into the business, about their families, about how society works. And it works pretty well in a third world country like that. But they're really engaging, and it's great fun. And they have a lot of fun with us. So that's always a highlight, meeting the guides and the camp staffs. Okay, what's next? I think we got through that. We are in some great camps, great locations. It's kind of the Tanzanian traditional route to fly into Arusha. Arusha, the airport we call it the Arusha Airport, but it's Kilimanjaro Airport. And there's two towns. One's Arusha, one is Moshi. Arusha is west, I believe, and Moshi is east, or I don't know what, but they're about equidistant. This airport's out in the absolute middle of nowhere. Anybody that's going on safari flies into and goes to Arusha. Anybody that's climbing Kilimanjaro goes over to Moshi, and the trailheads start out of Moshi. So a lot of people going in. Not all of them are going on safari, but we will land there. We get in, I think, about 7:30 or so. The plane lands after flying all day. We will be met and taken. It is chaotic because all the planes land about the same time, the international flights coming in. So, which means they're all going out too. So the day we leave, they'll take us out to the airport by vehicle, and then those vehicles stay and wait for the planes to land. They're going to take the tourists home, and they bring in a whole batch of new ones. So the day is quite long. I think there's a 2 or 3 hour time difference, but we get in 7:30 or so. They will pick us up. We have to go through and get our bags, go through customs. We will do that as a group. It's much easier to get us through that way. We'll stick together. They're much less likely to bother or go through bags when you've got a
12
good sized
people.
safari group, 12 people. Yeah.
Yeah,
then
we've
we-
never had them.
Our safari guides, there'll be transportation that gets us, we'll get the bags, we'll get them out to they'll get them out to their vehicles that we're gonna transfer to the Arusha Coffee Lodge. And we probably be lucky if we get into and on the road by 8:30 or so. I think it's about 45-50 minute drive because the airport is so far out of town. We got to get into Arusha and kind of get to the far side of town. But the Coffee Lodge where we'll be staying, we'll have a late dinner for us. It'll be something fairly light, pizzas, salads. They'll have the bar open. You'll get your room. You're going to rejoice that you're in Africa, and then realize, my God, we got to get up. And if we're lucky, there will be some species variety of primate that inhabits the Coffee Lodge area. So you
There'll be a
could
few
wake up
thousand of them.
to a monkey bouncing off the
The roof.
roofs.
Sometimes that happens. When you lay in bed, you hear a monkey. bounce off your roof.
Oftentimes. But
Randy,
I know it's kind of a pain that we had to spend that extra day, but being able to not have to jump in a safari vehicle and hit the road running the next day is not all bad. We are searching for an activity that we could do half day or something, but time to kind of get unpacked, repacked, refocused, and then we'll head out towards Tarangire that next morning after breakfast.
Randy, is this the same place we stayed last time?
No, it's
Okay.
it's a different one.
And I
The,
loved where we stayed last time, just so.
I'm sorry.
I loved where we stayed last time, but I'm not gonna go there.
No, the Coffee Lodge is more in town
Okay.
and closer to getting out of town then our first camp in Tarangire. I think we're stopping for lunch at a camp we used many years ago. We'll have lunch there. It's got a tremendous view down into a big valley. We may see elephants and giraffe at that point. And then we'll travel on. Just the way they run these camps, the timing is everything. They got to get the group from last night out of there, push them out by about 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, turn the camp completely around, and then they have a time of check-in time. And because these camps are so small, it isn't like they've got all these extra rooms where they could put you if they had a unbusy night the night before. We're entering in that just about everything will be booked every night full. And I think we're in camps. I picked really small ones that may only have room for, I don't think any of them have room for more than 20 people, which is really fun to feel like you've got the place to yourself. There will be, we're on a good highway going out to Tarangire, and there is a tourist trap kind of place on the way there. All the vehicles stop there. They do have toilets, and they conveniently have an enormous gift shop. And they do have those.
Is that the place with the Tanzanite you're talking about?
No,
Oh,
no,
okay.
no. This is that place out on the highway. We'll get to that place.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think we can make it to that place this time.
Bill got roped into buying Carolyn something pretty big there.
Yeah, pretty nice. Pretty nice. We'll give you the opportunity to leave some money in Tanzania. but our days are kind of like that. I don't know if we need to go through every stop, every trip, or
No,
what
I
to
don't think we
expect.
do.
We get up and leave early in the morning. We come back for lunch and we go back out late afternoon and have our sundowner. The other gear, I put something in there about binoculars. The reason a lot of people don't like to haul them, but what we have found over the years is sometimes you're so far away from an animal you can't get a good photo of it, but the guides will stop and they're looking for they know those animals really like the back of their hand. What they're looking for is what direction are they heading? Are they maybe coming our way? So it's just having binoculars, you get to kind of be in on that. We've spotted leopards before in trees that you're just way too far away and there's no way to get to them. The only way to see them is with binoculars. So
That would be me. And I found the leopard without even a pair of binoculars. I was just smart.
now we take bigger, these look bigger because of where my face is, but we take larger binoculars. If you don't want to mess with that, I would strongly suggest taking something, even if they're travel binoculars, if you got a pair.
Do you have a pair that you were going to show?
No,
not you.
but everybody knows what travel binoculars are. They're those ones you take when you travel. And then for camera gear, Barb and I do take serious camera gear. Bill and Carolyn do, but we've had people that just take their cell phones. The quality of cell phones now is so good. And we had some camera issues last trip, and so we only had one camera that was really working. So
At the end.
towards the end, and I found myself taking videos with Barb. Barb had a better phone than I did, so I took a lot of videos of. We had prides of lion, packs of painted dogs, elephants. We were in a group of, oh my God, we're probably in a herd of about 80 elephants, and just sitting there having the sounds and just that movement, the interaction with the animal. It's great fun just taking videos with your camera also. So unless you are, really want to become a photographic photographer, you don't need to run out and buy a camera if you don't want, or someday just go to the zoo and take your camera, and the animals can be quite a ways away there. Just take pictures and videos and see what you think. And then it's about what your expectations are and what you really want to get out of the trip. We have people that will purposely not take anything to take pictures with because they don't want to view the trip through a lens. Just want to sit back and experience it. We have had people take GoPros that are really small and easy to pack and charge. So that's a personal choice. Bill is a heck of a photographer and knows camera equipment like nobody's business. And if you want to talk cameras with somebody on what to buy, what to spend, Bill, you have his email address now, and contact him and say, hey, you got time to talk? He's not in the picture, so I'm volunteering him, Carolyn.
Yeah, he would love to do that. He stepped out. We had some young kids at our door, so I'm not sure what they wanted, but he'll be right back. But he's happy to do it. Just you have to tell him when he kind of goes down too much detail.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
You get a lot, yeah.
He's heard that from me,
but he won't.
Yeah, he does know cameras really well.
Yeah, and we've had people that take a bigger or more complex camera for the first time on these trips, and then usually the cameras do so much for you now in automatic mode, and it depends on what you want to do with the photographs. We've taken probably a million pictures, it seems like. On all of our trips, we've got some blown up in the house. Barb always ends up making a book. She used to make scrapbooks and now she just makes a Shutterfly book. To remember.
We take on the average between the two of us, between 5,000 and 6,000 photos.
Same
Yeah.
here.
Now, we used to do that with film and not take quite that many pictures, but you know, it doesn't cost anything to go click,
And
click, click,
it
click, click.
goes so fast. And
Oh.
when you see a little baby elephant and he comes charging at us and he can only get one ear up because he's so little. I mean, it's the cutest thing in the world. You just take a lot of pictures of it. And then it turns out they're all the same.
They're all the same. But you can get great quality pictures on cell phones. So
Yes.
don't discount that if that's what you're used to using. Now, I will tell you that don't promise anybody that you're going to send photos home because you won't be able to.
Well, right, but it's hard.
The bandwidth in the camps, they don't have underground cable strung to their backyard. They're doing everything through satellites. So they have a fairly high powered bandwidth that they use for their camp, the emergency stuff. But what they make available, you'll be able to get on the internet, you'll be able to send messages home, but people do get frustrated because they want to send all the pictures and you just won't be able to do it. One might go through here and there.
They'll tell you where you can go get internet, and you'll see 6 people overstanding in this little spot, and everybody's trying to get on the internet, and they just can't do it. And it's just the luck of the draw.
Charging stations, make sure you take an adapter with you. And I think Barb put, I think D and E.
Sure, it's in A and D, I think. It's in this. Yeah. No.
Take that.
D and E.
Yeah, they run on 220 instead of 110. They all have their own darn adapters. Most of the camps have charging capability in your facility. Once in a while, they've got a central charging station area where the power is on all night. They all run off of generators for the electricity, and they turn those off once everybody goes to bed, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. They shut them down. Mostly to save fuel, and then they're so noisy that you're out there where there's no sounds but the animals. So they turn them off so you can hear animals in the night. And then they turn them on in the morning about 5 o'clock. So if you have hair dryer, anything, but you are able. They do have battery power. I think that runs to most of your facilities that will. You'll be able to charge stuff all night, or they have a central place. We have had, if they have a central place, I think we put in there to make sure you mark, if you've got a battery charger, somehow take nail polish or something and put your initials on it or something. They all look alike. Everything looks alike. And if there's 10 or 15 batteries or chargers lined up, we've had people that they go down there, there's one left, and it isn't theirs. It's to a different camera. Somebody went down and grabbed it, maybe from another group. So mark it somehow so that everybody will know that it's yours. What else can I add? They're all flush toilets. You'll have nice hot water. There will be battery operated lamps in your facility. They have contact information. They've got a way to reach the staff if you've got any issues in the night. So they're very safe. They're very clean. They really take care of you. They walk you back to your facility after dinner. So safety is a big concern always, no matter where you travel. But they really go out of their way to make sure you feel safe and feel comfortable.
Randy, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Okay. Well, I can't see anybody anymore, but if you can hear me, that's okay.
we can hear you. What did you do?
I pushed a button.
We sent you all the information about vaccines, vaccinations. Of course, the biggest thing always is malaria medication. Barb and I always go out to the travel clinic that's on right off of 435 in Row, and I think it's called the travel clinic.
Yes.
Um,
And they'll tell you what vaccinations you might need or what anything you might need. And
yeah,
we always get 2 or 3 sleeping pills a piece to help you get over jet lag or to help you to sleep on the plane. And then she also gives us a prescription for an antibiotic. And I usually just get a Z-Pak, erythromycin, and and that pretty much takes care of us. So I did put that. Okay, you got information from Gilt Edge and you got information from us. And the information from us is, it says Tanzania 2024, and it starts out with passport. The information from Gilt Edge is absolutely great. I mean, it's very detailed and it will help you a lot. But in some cases, it's too much or it's not quite what happens on our safaris. So just kind of know that the one that's written in green is from Randy and I. And then, use the Gilt Edge for all the little nitty gritty details, if that helps you at all.
Now, if we're leaving the end of May, when would we want to go to those travel clinics?
I'm sorry.
If we're going to leave the end of May, when would we want to visit the travel clinic?
Bill, what do you think?
Well, it shouldn't, there's nothing that requires any significant time lag.
No.
Because
Should-
there's no special vaccinations required. Unless some of you are going to stop in a designated area where yellow fever is present, and
No.
my
You're
advice is
just getting medicine.
just don't do that.
Yellow fever's in Kenya, David. You're not going there.
Right?
But so we're not getting any vaccinations, so you're just going to pick up some medications.
Yeah, well, no, here's the thing about that. You're going to order malaria medicine, and that isn't something you can just walk into a pharmacy and they generally have in inventory. So you may want to give them 2 or 3 weeks at least to be able to get malaria medicine.
Okay.
And we put in this thing that I gave you. We put in which malaria medicine we take, and they will talk to you, and you and Julia can make an appointment and go in together. That's what Randy and I always do. And they'll like, 1 year I hadn't had a tetanus shot, so I got a tetanus shot. Another year I still needed a flu shot, so I got a flu shot. So I mean, they can do a lot of that right there. And that's really the vaccines that they're probably going to talk to you about. And they'll just ask you a bunch of questions. They'll want to know where you're going, what country, how long you're going to be there, all those kind of things. And when you make your appointment, they will ask you where you're going and you'll tell them, and they'll be kind of up to speed on it before you even get there.
Okay. Thank you.
So it's
I think you'll be okay if you just make an appointment after you get back in town.
yeah.
30 days out is fine.
I
Yeah,
think so
Okay.
too.
and I think the malaria medication we found is cheapest at Costco.
Okay.
It was last time, but you might want to look on, well, I don't know, GoodRx.
Yeah.
Is that? But it was
well-
cheaper last time at Costco.
I think Bill's got something, Barb.
Now with the Malarone, you'll want to take it starting the day before, or perhaps the day you actually leave the States. And that there's not much to it. It's well tolerated. And we didn't have any trouble finding it the last time. So, or either the last 2 times. So I think it should be fairly readily available.
Right, thank you.
But give the pharmacy time to get it for you.
Okay,
I think at this point, we kind of, every day is different. The guides have a kind of an underground communication system that they know. They've talked to other guides that are maybe in a camp next door. They talk amongst themselves, and they just bust their rear end to try to find the animals that everybody wants to see. There's 99% chance we will not see a rhinoceros, a black rhino.
Oh, yeah.
They are down in the crater. They have population down there. When we were there in 2019, the poaching is so bad now that they want to keep super secret where those rhinos are. So if they know a rhino's in a particular area, they actually close the roads that access back towards the rhinos. But we were lucky enough, when you get up to the crater, there's to the top of it, right when you get to the top, there's this great big overlook. And you can actually see down in the crater. We saw black rhinos through binoculars from up on top. So we at least saw them. But everything else, there's no guarantee, but we'll see lots of elephants. We should see lots of lions. We should see leopards. We should see cheetahs, more hippos than you could dream of, giraffe. So really, it's just amazing, and it's all just right there.
Cool.
So, Lynette, Stacy, did you think of anything we missed?
Yeah.
I was just gonna say that if you have any special requests, medical, dietary needs, anything like that, if you can send that to myself or Stacy, just so that we can communicate with Gilt Edge on that as well. So if you have like a CPAP or anything like that, please let us know and we'll make sure to note that on your reservation.
Yeah, and even being on generators, they accommodate. They've got a way to make the CPAP machines work. So
Were you going to talk about passports and visas and all that, Randy?
well, just make sure you got one that's good out through at least the end of 2024. You'll need those that are stopping and staying over in Amsterdam will need a couple pages, at least have a couple pages for going and coming, and a couple empty pages for Tanzania. So at least 6 pages. And I think the visa cost is included in your trip price, so that's taken care of. That Lynette and Stacy will be reaching out to tell you what we need to do to get that visa to get into and out of Tanzania.
We'll be doing that probably after the first of the year. I don't think they can do it until about a month ahead of time. So probably March or April, we'll be reaching out to you to collect all the information we need.
so if you don't have the blank pages on your passport, what do you do?
You'll need to get probably another one. So depending on how many pages you have, so you'll want to double check to see how many pages you have. If it's pretty full and you don't, then it's probably best to go ahead and get your passport renewed.
Okay,
I'm jealous. You need more pages.
and that's running, what, a couple of months now?
What's that?
Oh,
Is that running a couple of months to get those renewed?
gosh, it's quite a while. I know it's like 7 to 9 weeks if you expedite it. So, and it's longer if you don't expedite it. So it could be up to 4 months, I think, if you don't expedite. So I would always suggest expediting.
Yeah, and there is a secret weapon if you know, or we can get you in touch with any of the local congressmen. They can put a speed rush on it, and they did for us.
They did for us last year.
Yeah, and so that is an option, and they will do it. They're happy to do it.
So David, I'm assuming your passports are in Kansas City.
Right,
Yeah.
You know how many pages you have in them?
I don't.
And they're not.
I know
gonna be
they're
home
valid
until
because I
May.
shot a picture of the front page, so they're good. I just didn't go through and look to see, do we have,
Maybe your brother,
yeah,
when he goes and checks the
Yeah.
house.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know.
peeking over the safe.
Okay, anything, other questions? We're happy, send us an email anytime.
Or you can call. Oh,
You can call.
money too. We didn't talk about money. US dollars are widely accepted for extra things, like if you buy souvenirs or a premium alcohol. But they can't really break the big bills. So Randy said $20 bills, and they need to be have no tears, no folds, no ink on them, and they need to be printed in the last 10 years.
That's
there you
safe.
go.
That's what they prefer.
But
and-
we've never saw them turn down anybody's money either. So
Is there a
that's-
good rule of thumb as to
us.
how much extra cash? That
Well,
you want?
your tips are included.
Right.
So we take that burden, you paid them, but they're included. So, because we'd used to wait until we'd be leaving a camp, then somebody'd go around with a piece of paper and get the money. And so you got to take all this cash with you. David, I don't know. Most places will take a credit card,
Right.
but we always take, the tipping is included, but you're going to have somebody or something that, you really connect with, or somebody get you a pillow or an extra drink at a bar or something. And these kids are savvy enough to know they turn it on.
Yeah.
And they may be able to knock down a few more bucks. And to them, $1, $2, $5 is big money. So
Okay.
we take a stack of ones, fives.
Okay.
Some
We
kids,
have, and everybody develops a relationship with one of the guides. It just
Yeah.
seems like that always happens.
yeah,
And those guys you might want to tip at the end.
a little bit more. They're covered, and what we give them is the true going rate. I know that for a fact because some of the camps that we've been in have told us what they've gotten sent to the camp to cover the tips, and it's where it should be. So they are taken care of, but they're always willing to take more. I don't know, a few $100s max, David.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't need a lot because
That's
you'll
okay.
use your credit card if you're
Yeah.
buying Julia a Tanzanite necklace.
And then what about, since we're going to be hanging over in Amsterdam, did we
Yeah.
identify, can we take luggage and leave it there?
We're looking into that.
Where they've got luggage check-in that you can leave them at the airport. I'm having Lynette check with Des to see if you wanted to leave a bag at the Arusha Coffee Lodge. But if you're Julianne and Lee, you won't need an extra bag. Linda, I don't know if you'd need much since you're only staying one day more. You're staying one day on the way over and then one day back.
Yes.
Yeah. If you wanted to leave something, I think, David, if we took a bag to leave, I wouldn't take anything bigger than kind of a standard roll on.
Carry on.
Yeah. And that, in that case, if we do that, they can keep it at Coffee Lodge. It would be okay to take a small wheeled bag.
You're sure?
Yeah,
To
we'll
check.
check, but we're not hauling it anywhere from the airport to the hotel and the hotel back to the airport.
So what kind of clothes do we need for that then?
For
Well,
Amsterdam?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty casual. It's
Yeah.
really pretty casual. But if you don't want safari clothes,
Which you won't, because you'll be real damn sick of them. So
This is true.
yeah, you'll be tired of them. And the one thing you will need in Amsterdam, if you leave the airport, you will need euros. So if you have any, we always stash some, and we were just in Italy, so we got a few bucks, but they do have cash machines, and I know you can get euros at some banks here in town
Yeah.
before you go if you want.
But there's ATMs there too.
Yeah, but unfortunately, the exchange rate, the euro was worth $1.13. And you didn't get, it was just, the prices were pretty much equal to what we paid for stuff. So you're just paying a 13% surcharge on everything in
Seemed
Europe.
like,
Randy,
but we didn't care.
we had never used those passport carriers around our neck until
Yeah.
the last trip to Africa, and you convinced me it was a good idea, and now we use them on every big trip.
Yeah.
Greg,
And
Greg,
Amsterdam is sort of passport theft capital of the world.
Hmm.
And they've just become so damn valuable. Everybody wants them. So we just going to Italy, we wore those things, geeky looking things around our neck, but you know exactly where they're at. Barb's got stories. I almost got pickpocketed. She'll save that for a campfire talk in Africa, but I almost got a backpack busted into while we were walking down the street in Florence. But they are very valuable and they're very hard to get replaced. We can get you back home, but make sure you have a color photo or two of your passport and put them in different places. Each of you carry a copy of each your own passport and each other's, and have that somewhere. And then we have had passports stolen in Amsterdam, 2 different people, and we got them home. One of them we had to go to the American Embassy on a weekend, but they got him out of there. But when we got home, the customs people aren't real happy that you lose them, so you spend a lot of time,
And then on top of that, his wife had a big tulip bulb from
which
Amsterdam.
is
And you're
illegal.
not supposed to bring live things.
Yeah, yeah. Whether
Can
it's a
you just
plant
get
or an
those?
animal.
You just get those on the internet?
I'm
What's
sorry.
that?
Just
What's
get
that?
those on the internet?
Amazon has some good ones. They're not
Okay.
expensive. And I even, when we're en route, I keep all my credit cards and everything in there because it's got RFID. And I don't have to worry about,
Yeah.
losing those.
Yeah. And most of all it, I would bet 100% of the facilities you'll be in, your camp tents, all those things will have a small safe, and they're safe in there. We always leave them. We don't take them out on safari with us. We just leave them in our room in the safe. They're just like the hotel safes that are here in America.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. But it's so hard to replace those things that. And then we always put the little shields on our credit cards. So they
The
can't steal
RFID.
your, yeah. And the good thing, most of the places, not like America where they take your credit card and disappear for 10 minutes and bring it back to you. I don't believe you'll find anywhere on this trip after you leave the US that they don't have an electronic way to engage that card that they bring to you. So that you're not giving somebody your credit card.
And they don't take American Express, right? Just.
It's, well, Lynette, can you ask Des that?
I
can.
I didn't see that on the list. I thought it was Visa, MasterCard, and what's that other one?
Discover?
Let me see.
You're safe with Visa and MasterCard, but I really, and Europe will be different, David. But Africa, I think if you have a Visa, MasterCard, but you, other than buying Julia some Tanzanite, there really isn't a lot to spend money on. Everything is handmade, souvenirs. But anything you buy, you got to tote.
Yeah.
We encourage you to
Yeah.
buy towards the end of the trip.
Yeah.
Then you're not lugging that stuff. And the Johannesburg airport, or Arusha JRO, I think has a number of gift shops on the way out of town.
Okay.
That realistically, it probably is all made in the same place.
Okay, it's MasterCard for Africa. It's MasterCard, Visa, Plus, PLUS, and CIRRUS. I don't know what either one of those are.
Yes.
I think that's tied to cash machines.
Do you take any kind of carry-on bag or
Yes.
Yeah, you can take that, but all in, the weight limit is 35 pounds.
right?
So
Okay.
whatever you take, that all goes in. The only thing that doesn't count is what's the clothes on your back. But
Gotcha.
yes, do take something. It's nice to have a good question, Lee, because it's good to have something little that you can take out every day on the game drives. Where when
Right.
you start taking layers off, that you can roll them up and stick them in somewhere, or if you need cough drops or it's pretty dry and dusty out there, take something that mints or something to have. And they anytime, you all know this, there really aren't any restrooms out there. So they will stop anytime and find a safe place to go to the bathroom. And they won't let you get out of the vehicles before they go and check. But please, women especially, take a little bitty Ziploc bag or mini and take a little pack of Kleenex, because they really don't want you throwing anything on the ground. They're very conscientious about litter and keeping the parks pristine. So that's kind of the rule of the Velt, is that whatever you take in, take back out.
But going back to your carry-on question, you're going to want to take any medications that you have to take, anything at all, any RX medicines, your fluids. Well, I don't know. You might not have to take your small bag. I don't know, but anything you can't live without should be in your carry-on going over.
Yeah. And they always have food and drink on the vehicles when we're out. We stop in the morning for a coffee break where they have coffee, tea, hot chocolate. They take hot water. They've got cookies or something to munch on. In the afternoon, when we go on a game drive, they come around and get your bar order before you go out. And if you want a gin and tonic, they'll make you a gin and tonic out there on the plains. Or take wine. They always take some sort of snack. It's always good. They take nuts, popcorn, crackers. It's always very pleasant. People have a glass of wine or a drink, and then they don't want to get back in the vehicles to head back. Because you're out there, they always find some place that's an absolutely pristine place to stop and look. Usually, if there can be animals in the background, they'll do it. And you watch the sunset, and that sky is so orange, and it's just great fun.
Sometimes some animals join the party.
They do. They do. They've been known to. Party crashers.
Only once.
So we
the
talked
lions
quite a
are good
while.
at close.
If you've got any questions, please let us know. Happy to answer them. Lynette and Stacy, I know, will help as they can. We are trying to look for an activity while we're in Arusha that extra day, something that would be fun and not take the entire day. So we'll let you know what we find and what that would entail.
Great.
Any questions? Any more?
It's been
What
help-
about a water bottle, like a permanent water bottle just to fill up? Does that?
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you, it's not a bad idea, but it's probably a 90% chance that you're going to get one or two or three. The camps have all got their own water treatment centers now. For so many years, they hauled plastic bottles out there, and it caused just all that weight, and then all that plastic to throw away. So
Yeah.
all the camps have installed RO water systems, so they treat the water. It's safe, totally safe to drink. But most of them realize that we don't go over there with water bottles, And they will give you, we have come home that we've gotten a water bottle at each camp. So it's more souvenirs because they always have their logo on it.
Ah,
And you know,
okay.
you just happen to take that to work and set it on your desk. And
Okay.
yeah. So I would say, if you take one that you'd say, I can just leave this.
If I
Take
don't want
Take
it.
a plastic one or something, because they do make a great souvenir. And
They're
it's
usually
very
metal.
environmentally conscious. They are
Yeah.
very, very, very environmentally conscious. If they see paper out in the park, they usually stop their Land Rovers, jump out and grab it, which is really, really nice.
Yeah.
Okay,
Cool.
Okay.
Great.